Happy New Year, guys. It's Monday here, and on Practice Makes Prose today, we are kicking off the new year with beginnings. I want to write a story, but I don't know how to begin it. Beginnings are hard. They're about the most hardest thing in the novel to write, because they're the most crucial point in your story. When a reader picks up a book from a shelf, the first thing they read is the beginning, those first few sentences, so you really need to make them count. The way I figure it, everyone gets a miracle. Like, I will probably never get struck by lightning, or win a Nobel Peace Prize, or become the dictator of a small nation in the Pacific Island, or contract terminal ear cancer, or spontaneously combust. But if you can consider all the unlikely things together, at least one of them will probably happen to each of us. That was the first few sentences of John Green's book, Paper Towns. And that really interested me because it's such an unusual way of starting a novel. It grabs the reader's attention and makes them think, what is he going on about? What unusual things? So tip number 1, be creative. Think outside the box. Think, what's going to grab the reader's attention? Write something that doesn't necessarily make sense, but grabs the reader's attention and makes them think, what's happening here? For my novel, A New Lease of Life, the way I started it was with a letter which my character writes later in the story. So if it helps, write something that happens later in the story and shove it at the beginning as a prologue, and then go back on yourself and fill in the events leading up to that event. In that sense, you're capturing the reader's attention straight away, and they want to find out what's happening and what led up to this main event. It doesn't necessarily have to be the main plot that you use, but some plot of significance. Some stories, however, don't start in the midst of the action. Instead, they have quite simple starts, and that can also be effective because it's not action-packed straight away, it builds on itself. So for example, in the book The Railway Children, the opening line is, "They were not railway children to begin with." This is a short, simple sentence, but it draws the reader in. So tip number 2, your opening line doesn't always have to be action-packed. It can be, and sometimes that's a good way of bringing the reader in, but short and simple also does. The main goal, though, with opening lines and the opening paragraph is to draw your reader in. If the reader isn't drawn in, they're less likely to read it. If they are drawn in, they're more likely to read your story. So make sure that whatever you write draws your reader in. I tend to use mystery to draw the reader in. For example, in the letter that I've written for A New Lease of Life, it's all mysterious and you don't quite understand what it's about. But other people might use a different approach to draw the reader in, with action packs and a gunshot being fired, for example. But it varies from person to person. So tip number 3, find your own style. That's all for this video. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to check out our channel. There's a little link in a square here. Don't forget to check back on Wednesday for Ali's video and Friday for Tracy's video. And don't forget, practice makes prose.